In the spirit of reconciliation, I acknowledge the traditional custodians of country throughout Australia and their connections to land, sea and community. I pay my respects to their elders past and present and extend that respect to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Island peoples today. Welcome to Totally Lit, the podcast celebrating reading, writing and creating literature. I'm your host, Ky Garvey. Thank you for listening. Carolyn Bourke, welcome to Totally Lit.
Thanks, Ky. It's a delight to be here with you.
I'm so thrilled to have you here. Carolyn is one of the wonderful contributors to the Totally Lit Microfiction Prize, and part of her prize is an interview with me, which is very exciting. I did see on your website that it felt like you had won first prize, which I was like, oh, that's very flattering.
I was delighted to win that, so thank you.
The judges had really enjoyed your story. It really was in the spirit of what I was trying to do with the writing prize. I am a carer of two sons on the spectrum, and so I have lived experience with disability and caring, and I wanted to really raise awareness of the experience of carers because it's different for every person, and I also wanted to give carers a voice as well. And you've got a bit of lived experience from your work. You've been in chaplaincy for a number of years.
Yes, nearly 10 now.
Would you like to tell me a bit about your story and what inspired it?
Sure. So just over 10 years ago, I was made redundant in my local government position as a librarian and took a sabbatical to think about what I should do next. And in that time, I decided to study chaplaincy. And part of that, of course, was that I needed to do a student placement. And, you know, as these things work out, they wanted us to do them over Christmas, New Year, which is not the time that anybody wants a student placement. So I was very fortunate to get a placement in a residential aged care home, working with a chaplain there. And that really wasn't on my agenda as, you know, where I was thinking about working. But the chaplain that I was working with assigned me a group of residents to visit, and he didn't tell me that they were people living with dementia, and they were in early stages, so still fairly active and able to do a lot of things for themselves. And so it wasn't until sometime into some of the conversations that I actually realised that they were people living with dementia. But by that time, I was quite smitten by them. I was surprised. It wasn't what I was expecting. And I just found them so engaging and such interesting people, such interesting stories. And while they couldn't always remember the sequences of things, as I said, I just was really taken by them. And during that time, I got to listen to a woman called Christine Bryden. I don't know if you've heard of her. She's a really significant figure in the dementia world in Australia and internationally. She was diagnosed with younger onset dementia at the age of 46. She was at that point one of the science advisors to Prime Minister Hawke and then later to Prime Minister Keating. She was a senior person at CSIRO, very clever woman, and was told that she had younger onset dementia and she should basically quit her job, get ready to die. And
to give up straight away.
To give up, basically. She was not very happy about that diagnosis, so she basically has become an amazing advocate. And we're talking now 30 years later, she's still alive and she's still working tirelessly for people living with dementia. And so when I heard her speaking 10 years ago, nearly 10 years ago, she'd already been diagnosed at that stage for 20 years. And she was giving a presentation. She showed a brain scan of her brain, which was obviously significantly impacted by the dementia. But one of the things she said that struck me that, has really, I guess, been the purpose behind my writing and my work too, for that matter, was that while her brain and her body were impacted by dementia, there was nothing wrong with her spirit. And that really struck me because so many people were saying things like, Mum's not the person she used to be. She's gone. There may be no point visiting her because she doesn't remember that I've been. Those sorts of things. And I just thought we need to find some hope in this space that people can realise that, yes, things are different and, yes, they're hard, but people are actually still alive and the intrinsic essence of that person is still there. So that's what really prompted me to write the book that I've written. I wanted to write a book that showed some level of hope, even joy, potentially in the process, laughter, and that there's still opportunity for people to grow and change and find reconciliation in relationships, to find love. So for Christine herself, she married after her diagnosis, remarried. She had 3 children, teenagers at that point. She's now a grandmother.
Oh,
She's
wow.
done a PhD and she has written 5 books.
That's
So
very inspiring.
she is a remarkable woman, and, it's significantly more than most people are able to do. But still, that's inspired me. So I'm actually dedicating the book to her, and I emailed her just recently to ask her if that was okay. And
Lovely.
she had said she was, really happy for me to dedicate the book to her.
Oh, amazing.
So I'm excited about that as well.
So the past 12 months for you has been pretty exciting.
It has. It
You've
has.
come 5th in the Totally Lit Microfiction Prize.
Well, that seemed to
And
start the role, I have to say, Ky, so thank you for
Isn't it
that.
funny how sometimes you're submitting and writing and nothing is happening, and then suddenly a whole heap of things all happen at once. But I think it's something that Edwina Shaw has shared in her blog posts before about having as many things out as possible to it's a bit of a numbers game. So I kind of think I expect a response of something from 10 things I've got out. So it'll be a 1 in 10 kind of thing. But you've had a series of things. So would you like to share some of the other things that have happened in the past 12 months for you?
So I've spent pretty much this last 10 years trying to get this book written. And because I work full time and, have a fairly busy life, fitting it in is hard. And I think many people are in that same boat. It's not like many people have the opportunity to just sit at home and write all day long. So I guess it wasn't till I saw your competition and I thought, oh, I could write a short story. And especially seeing it was microfiction, it was like, okay, well, that's not too bad. And because I have over the years talked to lots of people, aging people and people living with dementia and their families and carers, I guess I have lots of stories. And the story that I wrote for the microlit competition was based on a story.
Was it a fresh, brand new story?
It was, yeah.
That's exciting. I love that.
It was. So getting that award really, I don't know, encouraged me to do some other short story writing. So I wrote another short story for the Jane Austen Literacy Foundation competition, and I was shortlisted for that. So the shortlist was 12, the final 3, and they said to me that I was close to the final 3. So that was exciting.
Well done. That's exciting.
And that was an international competition. So that was quite encouraging. And I was also writing about dementia. Yeah, it was just quite mind-blowing. I went to an American writers' conference in May and I submitted my book to that competition that they run, and it got 2nd place in the contemporary women's fiction / romance section. So that was exciting, and it's now a finalist in an Australian Amiga Writers competition, so they'll be announcing the winners in October. So it's finaled in that.
Something exciting still ahead.
And it's finally getting published.
Yes.
It feels like it's all happening, as you said, just at the moment.
Well done. All that work is starting to pay off. So you've been writing for 10 years.
Well, I've been writing probably my whole life, realistically, but writing this particular book for 10 years.
And you're starting to see the fruits of that labour.
Yeah.
Well done on the persistence, because I think that's the hardest thing, is I guess also evaluating what you want to see happen as well, in terms of I'm writing these stories, where do I want to see them? Because you want them to have reach and to touch the people that it will help as well. So I guess being mindful where you're submitting, how often you're writing, and hoping that it gets to the person that needs to read it as well.
Well, I think, like you, carers are really, close to my heart because it's such a hard job. It's a rewarding job, but it's a really hard job. And for people particularly in my field, it's generally older people and people living with dementia. It can seem a very thankless and hopeless kind of space to be in. It's not like you are going to find that the person's going to recover or improve. And so I think that being able to support people in that area and to show them that there are some things that they can do to make hopefully their situation a little bit better, but even just the way they think about it, that they feel some hope and some support, I think would be really important. In Australia, the dementia is the leading cause of death for women, and it's the second leading cause of death for men. So it's a really big topic for us.
Yes.
We're all going to be impacted by it in some way or another by, if it's not ourselves, it's our family or loved ones. So I think it's a topic that people are scared of, like it's a diagnosis no one wants to get. And yet, I guess I see so many people living with dementia who actually live remarkably full and encouraging lives. So, yeah.
So is your daily work at the moment still in chaplaincy with dementia patients?
So I work as a chaplaincy manager, so I have a team of 16 chaplains that I have the privilege of supporting. So probably about 2/3 of those are working in aged care. Some of them are doing other kinds of things. I've one that works in a prison and one that works in a school. So one that works with sex workers. It's quite a broad ranging job, but I guess my passion area is particularly for older people and for people living with dementia. So I guess I'm hearing stories, and plus having lived with family members as well. Both my parents had cognitive issues from my dad from Parkinson's and my mum from some issues that she had. Yeah, personal experience as well.
My beautiful mother-in-law had Parkinson's, and it was a very hard thing to watch. And I, unfortunately, my husband and I have only been recently married, and so I met her in the last stages of her life. But such a beautiful woman, and to watch that process and to support my husband through that, it was challenging. And just seeing her fight against her losing control over, she was having difficulty speaking because all of her muscles were slackening around her throat, and her getting frustrated with her body not working the way she wanted it to anymore, yet her mind was still working very well. So that was, a bit of a journey to go through. So I only really had known her for 2 years before she passed, and unfortunately it was right in the middle of COVID, but we did get to see her on Mother's Day just before she passed, so that was a blessing. But she didn't quite make it to our wedding, which did say to me how pleased she was that her son had met me, though, so that was lovely to know
have
that
her blessing
she was on our team.
Anyway. Yeah, even if she wasn't able to get there. It is hard. It's my mother-in-law had Parkinson's as well, and like yours, remained quite, her mind was quite clear until the end. But my dad had the Lewy bodies dementia that sometimes accompanies Parkinson's, with all the delusions and hallucinations and the kinds of things that go with that. So, yeah, it's not an easy journey, and I guess that's why I'm really encouraged to try and write something that isn't heavy. That's it's a novel. It's fairly light reading, but that hopefully will help people.
And do you find that your writing helps you? Because I imagine it's quite a heavy load that you carry at times when you're at the coalface supporting people.
Yeah, we're very fortunate that we all have clinical supervision, so that helps with dealing with a lot of the weight of. And obviously, you can imagine working in aged care, you're dealing with death on a fairly regular basis. So, yeah, it's not easy. For me personally, I do journal. That's part of my normal process of debriefing my brain at the end of the day. And, part of my, I guess, process of prayer and just reflection, all of those sorts of things. And that's also part of my support for my team is
Mm.
they do reflective work as well, and we discuss, obviously things are confidential that they're dealing with, but in the, broad brush of what they're doing, we support through that too. So, yeah.
And how much of your faith helps you through as well? I don't talk a lot about faith on the podcast, but I actually had investigated becoming a chaplain myself, but working in schools. And that didn't quite pan out the way I'd hoped. But I always find other ways to make impact in the world. So like the microfiction prize, I didn't want it to just be a writing competition. I wanted it to have waves of impact in the world, which it's great to see that that's what it's doing.
It's really encouraging, actually.
And it's like hearing your story that it's sort of triggered a whole heap of wonderful things to happen all at once. It is wonderful to hear. But yeah, I guess how much is faith involved with the process?
For me, it's totally part of who I am and what I do. And so in my book, what I wanted to show was that just because people can't communicate necessarily in ways that are very obvious to us doesn't mean that they're not still existing quite well in that sort of spiritual plane. So I guess my premise for the book is that as the person is less connected to the natural world, there seems to me no reason why they might not be more connected to the spiritual world. And so in the book, I have it's written in 3 strands. So one strand is the present, where Cassie, the main character, is living in an aged care home with advanced dementia. There's a past strand, so we see what's happened to her and the various traumas of her life that have led to where she's at. And we see a garden strand, and the garden strand represents her spiritual life. So it's a place that as a child she could access quite easily, because children are, I guess, less black and white about, I guess what we would consider real or what's not real. And then she doesn't access her garden at all during her life, but the garden still is there and things are happening in it that are reflected from her life. And then as her dementia increases, then she starts to be able to access the garden again. And there she realizes that there are things that need to happen in her life. She's got her missing daughter that she needs to find, and she's carrying a lot of guilt and a lot of issues that need to be resolved before she dies, basically. So it's kind of a race against time. Can she get all these things happening without having a lot of cognitive ability in the present? So that's what I was trying to show, that people can still have agency and still be able to do things in their lives, even if they aren't able to have conversations in the way that we think is the only way that people can actually communicate. And of course, I mean, we just know from communication studies, it's only something like between 7 and 10% of communication is verbal, is actually words. The rest of it is all the non-verbal communications. And so people who can't speak necessarily can still communicate.
Yes.
So I guess I wanted to show all of that, and it's not that easy to show it in written form. So that's why it's taken me 10 years to do it. So.
And what's you're signed with Redemption Press? What's your experience so far with them? Have you been enjoying the process?
It's been great. So they're a hybrid press. So that means that it's kind of a halfway between an independent publishing and a traditional publishing. That means I'm paying for, the editing to be done and the cover design and those sorts of things. But I have a project manager who just runs all the things and just lets me know what I need to do when. And, they'll handle a lot of the marketing and lots of the things that I know nothing about. And I think that's one of the good things. It helps with all the things that as a first-time author, you just don't know. There's so much stuff you just don't know.
There's so much to learn, and no one tells you how it all works, and it can feel a bit overwhelming, especially when you put all that time into creating the work. Then there's this whole other side once you've actually got the book
And there's
about
a
how
whole
to
of
get it
expertise
out.
that's needed that, as an author, you don't necessarily have.
Mm.
I mean, I'm not too bad at editing because I do a lot of that in my normal work. But editing your own work is entirely different than editing somebody else's. And so just having that expertise, they've been great. So hopefully the book will be published maybe March, April next year. We'll just see where we land
That's not
with that.
very far
No,
away.
it's actually kind of in view, which is exciting.
Yes. I'm a bit shocked it's the end of August when we're recording this, and I'm like, how? This year has gone so quickly. There's a few projects that I've been sitting on that I really want to push forward, and I'm like, I'm running out of time this year.
Well, you do have a lot on your plate. So, yeah.
It's been an interesting year. I'm kind of surprised at how much I've been able to achieve, and I think it's an example of when in your head you've got, "Oh, I can't do this. I don't have enough time. These things can't happen." But when you really want them to happen, you find a way to make it work. And so, yeah, I'm sometimes quite surprised when I feel I'm a terrible procrastinator. And I'm like, "Oh, I'm actually getting things done." Although my big project of a novel, I think that's gonna be years away because I will have to battle my procrastination on that one.
It is.
So,
It isn't easy, but I mean, one of the good things about having a team of people pushing you along is that they keep asking you for things that you have to get done. So at the moment, I've been doing character profiles and timelines so that they can make sure that everything's consistent in the novel and all of the kinds of things that you'd rather not do, but you actually do need to.
and are you thinking of having a launch and things once you've got a physical book?
Yes, I am planning to have a launch. I haven't teed that up yet, but I'm hoping to actually be able to have it in one of the sites that I've worked in the past.
Oh, that would be
I think
lovely.
it'd be fun. Yeah.
Wow. And do you have an idea of where we'll be able to find the book once it's ready for
So it
sale?
will be available through Redemption Press's website, but it'll also be through all the normal things, Amazon and wherever.
Yeah.
And ebook and all the normal places. So it'll be good.
What an exciting time. And I will have to keep an eye out in October to see how you go.
Yes, I'm actually going to be overseas when the announcements are made, so I hope I find out too.
These days with social media, the news will come out. It shouldn't be too hard, but I do know that feeling of waiting when you've been shortlisted for something. It's like, oh, will I have made the top 3?
Yeah, it is pretty exciting. Just to be shortlisted is exciting, and with the Amiga competition, they give you extremely good feedback from the judges in the first round of judging. So I've just had all of that back, and I just look at it and think that's really helpful, especially seeing we're in the editing process now. It can all be grist to the mill for that, so it's good.
All that learning, I don't think anyone realizes all those people that mentor you and give you advice, like it's so valuable just to implement and put into practice. Because sometimes, like writers, they have a natural talent, but you also need to learn
the craft.
And that you can't always see it in your own work at times.
Absolutely.
So it's great to have someone say to you, why don't you try this? Or even this morning, I was at a school visit with Lauren Daniels, who was one of the judges for the Microfiction Prize. And I got to sit in on the class. She was delivering a workshop. And I was like, I'm learning so much. I feel so lucky to be here with these kids today.
And it's great to just do that learning process. And I've been so privileged to have so many more experienced people mentor me. I've got a Joanne Berthelsen, who's just published her 11th book, who's been mentoring me. And I've been working through the Australian Writers' Centre, working with Pamela Freeman from that.
Oh, she's amazing.
She's fantastic. So there's just so many amazing people I've had the privilege of spending time and learning from. So,
do you have any tips for emerging authors that are on the journey that are also writing something, because you're writing on something quite niche as well?
And I think that is a bit tricky, but I would suggest getting yourself as part of a writing group, it just makes such a difference to have people who are supporting you and encouraging you. So join a writing group would be my suggestion. That's been the key thing for me, just having those people who know more, but even other people who are not as far along the journey who I can then support and help too. So it's sort of a multifaceted thing. It's really actually been extremely encouraging.
It is quite a pleasurable experience as well to be able to mentor and share with other authors as well. Like I try to help people. I always feel like I don't know anything though, and I sometimes have emails and
I don't know why
messages people saying, "Oh, could you help me with this?" And I'm like, I don't know, but what I usually, if I don't know the answer myself, I try to connect them with someone who I do know will be able to help them.
And that's a great skill, that networking and being able to facilitate connections. It's a massive difference for people. Because it's a very isolating thing, writing.
Yeah.
You can just sit at home and feel that nobody else gets you. So to find your people is such an encouragement.
I find to my day job, I'm alone working from home, and then I'm podcasting and writing at night alone. So I find a lot of value in when I get to connect with people face to face. So I've got a monthly writers catch up I go to, and I also have my amazing kidlit community here in Brisbane, and it's good to just see people and chat and talk about, and sometimes we're not necessarily talking about the craft, but we're also talking about the publishing industry, and because there's like no one way to get published either.
Especially these days, there's so many ways. And I think it's good to learn from other people before you just jump into something, because there's also obviously quite a lot of, dodgy people in the industry.
I do think
fringes of the industry.
That you do have to have your eyes open in publishing, although I feel if you can usually tell someone is reputable because they will have a good reputation, and you can just having a look at someone's website and doing a bit of Googling, you can get the vibe.
Doing your research is really wise. One of the things that I was looking at with Redemption Press was who they already published and what are they doing, and seeing how many awards they were winning, what their authors were winning, was actually very encouraging, because you're thinking, well, they're obviously producing stuff of high standard, because obviously you can pay to get your work done and it's not properly edited. And
it's an easy trap to fall in, I think. But I think if you do your research, it's fine. And there's more and more hybrid options coming out, and is something I'm considering with some of my work, especially around, I've got a few stories that are around my boy's experience with autism that I'd love to get out, but they're not seeming to be commercial enough. Yeah, for me, I'm like, if I really want those messages in the world, it may be that I have to find a different pathway than traditional publishing.
And I think the hybrid publishers are good for that kind of thing, that you're getting the professional help that means that the item's going to be the best it possibly can be when it comes out.
Yes.
But it's not going to get picked up by a traditional publisher because, well, they don't see that it's going to sell enough to make it worth their while.
And I think just keeping an eye on the distribution, like in terms of if you are paying a press to print your book for you, how they can help you get your book out into the right hands as well, because it is a challenge if you are just trying to sell the book yourself. It's really only your friends and family.
Well, it's, we've all only got so many friends and family to buy our books. So,
And the developing reach it's a real challenge, even using social media these days, because of the algorithms and the paid ads and things like that. It's so difficult to break out of your own circle to share that you've got something.
That's true.
So finding creative ways to connect with readers is a challenge.
Lots of the journey still ahead for me, but I'm encouraged that Redemption Press does a lot of work with the big distributors in the States. So, and I think that's one of our issues here in Australia, isn't it? We're a small country. We have a very small publishing industry. And if you're looking at something that's a bit niche, within that, then
Yes.
you're getting to quite small. So sometimes I think that's the only ways to go outside of Australia. And that's, I guess, the conclusion that I'd come to after going to the conference earlier this year in the States. It seemed like the best option.
And what was the experience for you at that conference that you went to?
It was amazing, actually. It's a huge conference. It's probably the biggest Christian writers conference in the States, possibly in the world, I would guess. So maybe 600 people at it, and heaps and heaps of publishers and editors and agents and all kinds of really interesting people. I've never been in a conference before where everybody asks you what you're writing and then listens with great interest while you tell them about it, which doesn't happen that often. I think there were four of us, four Australians there. My sister and I went, and two of our friends who were on faculty for the conference, and one of them was one of the keynote speakers.
I mean, scary in front of 600 people. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, but the Americans were very friendly and really encouraging, and yeah, it was great. I told a story. They had a storytelling cafe, and you got 4 minutes to get up and tell a story, and I thought, oh, I'm here, I may as well go for it. Why not?
Yep.
And I told one of my, funny dementia stories, and I got a really good response from the audience. I did get some feedback from the judge, who said that I had to speak slower because I was a bit hard to understand with my accent.
Oh, with that accent.
But people laughed in the right places, so I figured they did understand it without too much trouble.
I don't know if Australians can speak slower than we already do.
And I only had 4 minutes. You've got to squish it in. So, anyway, it was good fun.
But verbal storytelling is a very different art to writing as well. And that's one thing I'd like to get better at, even though I'm a podcaster. Being able to tell a story in front of a crowd and hit all the right beats to get the right reaction.
And that's the thing, getting the timing right and not speaking too fast. So I did practice quite a bit. They videoed it, so I've actually.
Oh, you've got a copy of it?
I have. I'm planning to put it up on my website, but I'm a bit scared to do it. But I will. I'll put it up.
Do it. I've just had to do some videos recently, recording me speaking to the camera, and the process of having to watch them back is a little bit uncomfortable.
It's daunting, isn't it?
But I tend to just put things out into the universe and then go, okay, I'm never looking at that again.
That's what I feel a bit inclined to never look at it again. But anyway, I will do it.
Well, thank you so much for joining me today. It's been great to chat. And I've been thrilled to see that there's been some amazing things happening for you as well. It's great. Got to start your career somewhere.
Absolutely.
And it looks like it's definitely on the way for you. So that's amazing. And I'm glad that we've been able to play a little part.
Well, I feel like the Totally Lit competition actually was, the Kickstarter for it all. So thank you. I really appreciate it.
I've seen some really wonderful ripples. A few of the other entrants have had some other successes as well. And of course, Ky Garvey, who had won the Carers Award, has just gone on her retreat and had a fabulous time. So that was awesome. Amazing as well. And so I'm hoping to repeat the whole process this year again. I've just got to get my finger out and get all the logistics happening. It's been a great learning curve for me and just in project management, but also just the surprise. I was not expecting the response. Like, I had such a great support from the writing community. And I was like,
it's a great topic though.
Well, yeah, I think I just want to, find ways to give back, because sometimes you feel like you have a voice but not the platform to be able to share what you want to say. And gradually, as I've been growing my career and growing the podcast, I'm like, I think I've got that platform now. Let's start using it in ways that help other people. And you go deep into things. I'm compelled to make meaning of things that have happened in my life, but also want to use it to have purpose and go, okay, this is the set of circumstances I've been presented with. Let's turn it into something wonderful. And certainly I love my boys and never consider that they have autism as it's always a challenge, but it's not a burden. And I want them to know how proud I am of them and how much of what I'm doing now is a result of them. So I always want them to know how special and wonderful they are, and that they have brought things into my life that I didn't even dream of. And they, of course, are late teenagers now. They're like, oh, Mum, so embarrassing.
Yeah, you're embarrassing. Teenagers always think their mothers are embarrassing.
But yeah, for me, definitely, we as a family have been presented some challenges that when you're thinking of your life, you don't consider that what may be coming. And I just want, especially other carers, when there's times where life is hard and you feel like you're at rock bottom, you don't know how you're going to keep going. And I just want to make sure that I'm reaching back to those people and bringing them along with me. So I'm like, you might be in a dark time at the moment, but it's not always going to be dark.
And really, it's such a gift, isn't it? The gift that you have as a family because of your boys, but the gift that you can then give to other people of empathy and compassion and understanding and encouragement. And I guess I feel the same way with the dementia issue, that, if we can give some hope and some joy to people in what is a very hard and dark place, then
life is
all
just
worthwhile.
Life, isn't it? Like everybody, no matter what they're presented with, everybody has some times in their life that are dark and challenging. And if your book can be in the right hands of the person who needs a bit of hope, that just helps push them through that tunnel a bit. It's worth it.
Yes, I agree. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for joining me. It's been great to get to know you a bit better as well.
It's been a real privilege and a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Carolyn. Totally Lit is an independent podcast. You can help support us to continue to chat with wonderful Australian creatives by leaving a review on iTunes or sharing our socials with your friends. You can also make a contribution at www.buymeacoffee.com/totallylit. This will also help with equipment and podcasting platform fees. I love to interact with our listeners, so feel free to say hello either by email or social media at totallylitpodcast@gmail.com, or you can find me on Facebook, Insta, LinkedIn and Twitter, and now Blue Sky. I've also created a group on Facebook called the Totally Lit Writing Community. It's a space to continue the conversation and share your writing successes, events, launches and latest projects. Jump into the group and say hello. Thank you for listening to Totally Lit, and don't forget to go out into the world to read, write, create, ignite.